We'll cover all topics related to this machine. The Razer Blade 15 Advanced Model RTX 2070 sets a new standard for gaming laptops. I've always wanted them to take the elegant design of the Apple laptops with killer specifications like good graphics card and better thermal design of Windows-based machines. Now you don't have to choose good elegant design and strong PC gamer-like specifications. Razer still allows you to upgrade the machine in a time when most manufacturers restrict access and don't allow for storage and RAM upgrades. Razer gives you options. If you're interested in upgrading this machine, keep watching. At 7:45, I will show you how to upgrade the machine and do a teardown and dismantle it. At 5 minutes, I'll show you how the machine games. Hey guys, I'm looking to start a gaming clan. Add me on Steam and let's play some games. Spoiler alert, this machine doesn't just game, but it games really well. Up next, the design and features. Razer had added a ton of time-saving optimizations to the machine. For instance, you can open it with one hand, and it uses a strip of magnets for enclosure. Really smart design. It feels the way it should on this machine. The ratios, the squares and the rectangles, the design all match and is appealing to the eye. That notch allows you to open the machine with ease, and I like how it matches the length of the large trackpad. For moments when you don't have a mouse, it's nice to have an all-glass trackpad that uses precision drivers for accurate scrolling and movement. All gamer laptops skimp out on the trackpads, and they're usually just an afterthought. But Razer clearly knows serious PC users don't just need a powerful machine. It has to reflect their belief system, and that all elements of the design must be good. It is a no-compromise machine. However, it's not to say it's without its flaws, which we'll cover at the end of the video. When scrolling up and down, it's exceptionally smooth. 240Hz screen aids in the smoothness. If you haven't experienced a high refresh rate screen with Microsoft Precision drivers, you're seriously missing out. The speakers are satisfactory, and I would like them to improve the sound in future models. The keyboard is good, no real issues here. Some have mentioned that the key travel could be better, and I agree. But I know keeping this machine as slim as possible, yet also providing some kind of key travel, had to have been difficult, and I'm glad it doesn't cause any gaming or general usage issues. Even though it's acceptable, I would still enjoy just a little bit more key travel in future models, when they are ready of course to add that. Right now the machine is my favorite machine, and I will sell my desktops and my MacBook to fully replace it with this machine. That truly says a lot, since I'll be giving up my 2080 Ti. I did order a new 16-inch MacBook Pro with the new 8GB graphics. We shall see if this machine will replace this Razer. Subscribe to see if the PC versus Mac comparison of these two devices. Up next, ports. Seeing as computers are extremely important, a no-compromise machine is in my top priorities to acquire. Since I do a lot of work on computers and I do a lot of gaming, it just makes sense to make my experience as comfortable as possible. We have a proprietary charger, which I hate. This needs to be a USB-C Thunderbolt connector. We have two USB 3.2 Gen 2 USB-A ports, a headphone jack, and as we move around the laptop, there is a battery charge light indicator. We have a Thunderbolt 3 USB-C port, another USB 3.2 Gen 2 port, HDMI, and a mini DisplayPort 1.4, a Kensington lock. This is a 1920 by 1080 15-inch display with full 100% Adobe sRGB, meaning it's got the perfect display for working professionals who need the most color accurate screens. For instance, photo and video editors will love this machine. If you do any kind of 3D modeling or any kind of work that requires the screen to be calibrated to have the most accurate colors, professionals will really enjoy this screen. When you look at the bezels, you know they wanted to maximize the available screen real estate. I'm glad they are pushing this machine to its limits in terms of functionality. They could have had the screen be much smaller and not as color accurate. However, they found a way to make this work. When they upped the refresh rate, there's something truly to be said about the smoothness of a 240Hz screen. You guys have to check it out in person. The hinge that holds up the screen is very fluid. It's sturdy because it has 3 points of stability, 2 on the edges and 1 center hinge for ultimate fluid opening experience. You're constantly reminded of the hard work that went into this machine, again, to ensure that you have the most optimal experience. This is why engineers will gravitate to similar machines like this. Designers need more tools to be designed well. When you're ready to game, the performance will not disappoint. Games like GTA 5 run flawlessly on max graphics, and because this screen's refresh rate is higher, it gives you better control, and seriously, you do have an edge in first-person shooters, or games that employ real-time strategy. I noticed in FPS games, I experienced an instant increase in my hit scan, and I was able to defeat my opponents easier. This is something you notice right away. Imagine how much this improved effect compounds over time. Similar in Rust, if you have better tools, you excel, and leave everyone else in the dirt. Games like Overwatch, PUBG, Fortnite will run flawlessly without a hitch. You'll also be able to enjoy future game releases, because this hardware is seriously overkill for today's games. The 2070 and the 6-core 9750H just dominates. Future models of this machine should allow you to upgrade the CPU and video card. MXM technology from 10 years ago showed it was possible to have upgradable laptops, and Dell, for instance, recently released upgradable versions of their machines. I would like to see this in the future from Razer. It would be great to have full upgradable desktop graphics and desktop grade CPUs. And Dell, for instance, has new tech where their modern laptops use full CPUs and full desktop graphics cards that are upgradable. I would like to see this from Razer in the future, even if it's their own proprietary design, or have them cut some kind of deal with Dell to share the tech. That way everybody wins. We need these manufacturers to come together to design the best machines possible. There's never truly been a machine that doesn't have some kind of annoying fault. Either it's too loud, or it's too thin, or it's too hot, or it's not upgradable, or has some terrible speakers. There's always something. It's surprising to me that Apple and Razer seem to be the only ones that have devices with very few weaknesses. Devices that are designed for pros, professionals. But what about making machines with zero weaknesses? This is theoretically possible, but would probably just cost too much to make this. And this is why nobody does it. But what about our principles? What about our beliefs? Somebody needs to make this happen. I can see future versions of Razer Blade could be able to fill this gap. I mean, look at what they're doing now. This is pretty impressive. So if you want to upgrade this machine, there's pretty good chances you'll need some kind of special kit, kind of like this iFixit kit, or the special type of screwdriver to open up this machine because it uses pentalobe based screws. At first I found that to be really annoying, but actually these type of screws are much better than the old school Phillips style. They're basically a lot more sturdy. When you remove the back panel, you'll gain access to all the hardware. You'll see that we have a CPU and GPU fan, but the star of the show is actually this cooling system. This is a vapor chamber cooling, but this utilizes basically a large chamber to cool both the CPU and GPU. We have a NVMe SSD. This is one of those light-on SSDs. It actually has really good performance. 2 sticks of RAM, both DDR4 2666. There's an 80 watt-hour battery. I would have really wished that they made this larger, like 100 watt. Other manufacturers have proven that it is possible to fit larger batteries. Here's what the actual RAM looks like when you remove it. This is a Samsung module. These days it's extremely common to find Samsung based products in almost everything. Here's the light-on SSD. This gets about 2 gigabytes of read and write very fast. This is literally the first time I'm not going to be upgrading the SSD because it's actually a good enough product. I did, however, upgrade the RAM and just put in 64 gigs in there since I use a little bit over 32 gigs while video editing. So to upgrade the RAM, all you gotta do is remove the back panel, and then there are these little arms that hold the RAM module in place. All you gotta do is push them off to the side and the RAM module will pop up diagonally, and then you just remove it with 2 fingers. When you're reinserting the RAM module, you want to be careful that you put it back in the same way you took it out, and then you push down and then it snaps back into place. So something that I've run into myself when upgrading RAM is sometimes the notch is not aligned, so when you're inserting it, you actually risk breaking the slot and causing damage to the motherboard if the notches do not align as you're pushing it in. Upgrading the SSD is very similar. There's basically a screw that holds it in, and then you remove it diagonally just like the RAM. Honestly, it's time they stop using these stupid screws to hold everything together. They need to adopt the same system that the RAM uses. Just have it snap into place. When you've upgraded the SSD, reinsert it back the same way and then fasten the screw to ensure that it's secure. So I've been complaining about these ugly power supply bricks for a while now, but it actually turns out that Razer has one that's a little bit more elegant, a little bit smaller. Generally with the kind of performance you're getting, you would expect a larger brick. One thing I absolutely hate though is this annoying proprietary design. This just needs to be a Usbc charger. Why are they using some kind of annoying proprietary design? The reason why this sucks is once that cord breaks, you're gonna have to replace the whole thing. If it was a USB-C cord, you could just remove the cord and just replace that. So you can't really fix this thing if it has trouble. So the worst thing about this machine is the gross metallic feel of the device. It's not very good. It kind of is a little extra rough and it kind of rubs your skin off a teeny tiny bit, which I really don't like. The other problem is even though you get a 2070 Max-Q, or if you upgrade to the 2080 Max-Q, and you also get that 6-core processor, it does not run at the full specifications of the machine, which I really do not like. And this is because of thermal throttling, so that means it can't cool the machine as well because it's a very thin design, thin and sleek, and it has power limit throttling as well, which essentially means that the power brick cannot power the device. So it's overheating and it cannot power the device, which really sucks. You're paying a lot of money for great performance, but you're not getting all that performance. Now, the thing to keep in mind is even though these two things are happening, it actually does not impact your gaming like you think it would. You're still getting really good frame rates, and overall your machine does not stutter, freeze up, or shut down randomly, so it does not overheat. Now, because it is a metal body, it does get very hot with extended gameplay, which could make it kind of hard to play games when the machine is on your lap. But in general, all gaming laptops have this problem, so don't think too much into it. If you need a laptop, this machine is great. One of my main reasons for getting it was that it has extremely good design. It has a really nice big trackpad, so when I'm not gaming, when I'm just surfing the web or the internet, I can move around. It's got an amazing display, 144 Hertz, and you can upgrade it to the 240 Hertz model, which I think is absolutely amazing. It's so buttery smooth. Once you go to that higher Hertz rate, you never ever go back. I like the fact that it's basically like a MacBook, but a gamer version of it. Now, is it as good quality as a MacBook? I would say it is not as good quality, but it's very, very close. Each new version they release, they're getting very close to matching the quality. The trackpad is still a tiny bit smaller than the MacBooks. The MacBooks have a better feel and they have pretty stable performance and they're thinner. Now what you're going to get with this machine, because it's a Windows-based machine, you're going to get all the ports you need. Unlike on a MacBook, you're going to have to get hubs. And on a MacBook, you can't really get a good GPU for gaming unless you upgrade to the 4GB card, which is still kind of pathetic. 4GB honestly is not enough to run all your favorite games. You can make it work, but I don't recommend it, which is why I got one of these machines. You know, I have a MacBook for making videos for work, and then I have this machine for gaming, essentially. I got a couple other gaming machines that I'll probably be selling as well, because I do have 2 desktops that I'll probably be getting rid of, because this machine has done a fine job of replacing my other desktop computers. So the port selection is really good. You get 3 USBs, you get a headphone jack, a proprietary charging connector, which I think is kind of stupid. They should have just put an extra USB-C on there. I don't know why they bother with their own proprietary tech. It's ugly, it doesn't work as good, and if it breaks down, you're kind of out of luck. If it's a USB-C, you know it's got that amazing durable quality, and most machines will have mostly just USB-C anyway, so they might as well just upgrade to that. You also got USB-C Thunderbolt port, HDMI, and then a mini display port and a Kensington lock. So for ports, you are set, you are covered, you can upgrade this machine. If we take a look inside, you can see that you can upgrade the RAM. It's super easy. You got these little pins you remove, slide it in, slide it out, and you can also add an additional M2 storage. Other than that, there isn't a whole lot you can upgrade, but realistically speaking, this CPU and GPU will last you a long time. So even though this machine has a few little shortcomings, overall they're not really noticeable on the specification sheet, and when you're doing your benchmarking and your testing, you will notice there is that thermal throttling and power limit throttling, but forget about it. They found a way to optimize the performance and to make this machine work great. When I was playing games on this machine, I was extremely impressed. I was able to play Rust. I was able to enjoy it. I was able to play it and have no hiccups whatsoever. The more I think about gaming machines, the more I realize that 15 inches is great, but with a 17-inch, there is absolutely no compromise. And if you have the potential, go for the 17-inch option, just so you can have that, so you can have more resolution, so you can see easier. In an FPS games, it's definitely better, I think. But if you want something a little bit more portable, a little bit more discreet, this 15-inch model right here will actually do you very well. All right, guys. If you have questions, please leave them down in the comment section below because I will be replying to all comments. So if you have a question, let's chat. I really want to hear from you guys. Essentially, it doesn't matter which version of this machine you get, it's gonna run really well and you're just not gonna have any problems. I highly recommend you guys get the default version of the CPU and GPU, and then later down the road, either upgrade the RAM or the SSD. The reason for this is because you're gonna be paying extra. You're gonna be paying on top, and you don't have to pay extra if you just get the base model and upgrade later down the line. And the other reason for not getting the stronger GPU or CPU is because you're already power limit and thermal throttling anyway. So you're gonna pay that extra money for that extra performance, which you're really not gonna get a whole lot because it doesn't really, the fans can't really cool the machine that much anyway. I mean, if you want extra performance, sure, it's gonna help you, but I don't advise getting it because you're just not getting the full performance. Now, in the future versions of this machine, I can really see them improving the cooling. Honestly, all they gotta do is make the heatsink, instead of this big, make it this big. You know, they can shove it in there, they just have to find a way. If this is an engineering problem, I know they can do it. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I hope to hear from you. If you like the content, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.